Hello. Welcome back to Marcella Reads. I'm Marcy, and today I decided to do something kind of fun. A couple weeks ago, I was going through my Goodreads TBR, which was like over 500 books that I eventually want to read, which is too many. And the specific number of 500 was kind of freaking me out. So I went through all of these books and I got rid of the ones I'm likely never going to read. And in this process, early on, I realized, oh wow, there's some like really interesting looking books on here that I think I'm gonna really like. So I made an entire list of them and I'm calling it my 5-star predictions. And that's what this video is. But first, I want to introduce you to someone who has become a fantastic reading companion of mine. Her name is Analia. She is an aspiring geologist and she is really nice to squish. Yeah, I ordered a squishmallow because I am an adult and I can choose what I do with my money. But anyway, she's a lovely little pillow. Okay, on to the actual books. First, I found The Familiar Dark by Amy Engel. People say that this is similar to Sharp Objects and Pretty Girls, so like a pretty intense thriller, maybe horror-ish. And it takes place in like the poorest areas of the Missouri Ozarks, and the woods seem to play a pretty big role in this story. And if that is true, then it sounds right up my alley and I want to read this. Especially with spooky season coming up, I think it's gonna be a great read. Next I found Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and this, I remember seeing this cover in a lot of videos, but I until I reread the synopsis, I could not at all remember what this was about, not even the genre. Let me tell you, it is a sci-fi. Two rival megacorporations are literally at war over this one specific planet, and they have started an invasion, and then two people on the planet, I believe Katie and Ezra, they have a complicated relationship, some issues in their past. They are forced to work together to try to evacuate this planet to get away from the invasion, all while trying to escape this like hostile warship as well. And the interesting part of it is that the narrative is told through a series of like documents. So think hacked emails, maps, files, instant messages, medical reports, just all sorts of things. And I remember I was literally just telling myself when I was reading The Graveyard Apartment this month that I really enjoyed having part of the storytelling come from a character in the story discovering specific documents. So in The Graveyard Apartment, it was Misao going to this like local, I don't know, town office and finding the work permits and building permits for her building and finding out some history, some probably haunted history about her apartment that way. So that leads me to believe that I will likely also like this storytelling. I'll find out. This next one, I'm happy to say that I actually own. I bought this one last year. I knew I was gonna like it then. I still haven't read it, and I think part of me is still waiting to get more into the fall season, get more spooky, but I think I'll enjoy reading it whenever. I just have to remember that it's here, and that is After the Fire by Will Hill. Just in the description, I can tell that there's like a girl or a woman, and she is describing her life before the fire and then after the fire. So before the fire, she lived inside the fence, and she was never allowed to leave the fence or talk to any outsiders that were not a part of that community. She was also never allowed to speak her mind, and all because of some dude named Father John, and he controlled everything, and he liked having lots of rules. And apparently, disobeying Father John came with some pretty terrible consequences. Sounds pretty culty to me, so I am excited to figure out what exactly is going on in this one. Oh, okay, so this next one is a pretty recent find for me. and that is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. So there's this dude, you may have heard of him, his name is Dracula, and he likes to collect brides, and apparently some grooms as well. One of these consorts is Constanta, who went from medieval peasant to vampire bride. I'm not entirely sure if she is ever turned into a vampire or if she stays human the whole time. I don't know. And she finds out that, unsurprisingly, Dracula is kind of a shit partner. And as a result, Constanta seeks comfort in the arms of her rival lovers. So there is some relationship drama going there. And in this process, she also discovers some of Dracula's dark secrets. And in finding those out, she eventually has to decide between going after her freedom or trying to salvage her love for her vampire husband. And that sounds great to me. Sounds a little smutty, sounds a little dramatic and tense. Looking up the Storygraph like mood tags, it said it was dark, emotional, tense, and mysterious. So very intriguing. This next one is a nonfiction. I remember I first added it to my TBR a few years ago after listening to someone talk about it on a podcast. Might have been Stuff You Should Know, something like that. And it is Invisible Women, Data Bias in a World Designed for Men by Carolyn Criado Perez. And this whole book is talking about how so many things in our world were not designed for like half of the population. So the average human really most of the time turns out to have been an average white dude. So things like seatbelts are an issue if you have a feminine body. They were not made for you. So if you were to get in an accident, you are like 47% more likely to get severely injured because it was not designed with your body in mind. And you know, it's all sorts of stuff like that. Your phone is too big for your hand. The drugs your doctor prescribes to you may not have necessarily been tested on someone with a body like yours. So there's so many different areas of life where women and feminine bodies have been just systematically ignored. Like there's this massive gender data gap, and this talks about it. And I'm excited to get sad about it. Okay, the rest of the books on this list are going to be graphic novels. Okay, the first one on this list is Mooncakes by Suzanne Walker. So this is a story of love and demons, family, and witchcraft. Duh, I'm gonna like this. There's a family bookshop, a teen witch, a cute New England town, baking, and it's queer. Like, I will be utterly shocked if I don't end up loving this book. Ooh, the next one on the list is 1,000 Colored Castles by Gareth Brooks, who I don't think is Garth Brooks. I think it's a different person. Anyway, this graphic novel is how the surreal lives side by side reality in the everyday when you have Charles Bonnet syndrome. This is a condition where a person with partial or severe blindness has complex and often bizarre hallucinations. So you can get an idea of what this means by looking at the cover art for this. So there's, you know, a castle in like a normal neighborhood. And this is the kind of stuff that a person with Charles Bonnet syndrome would see just like all the time in normal life. The artist Gareth Brooks uses their illustrations to show how frustrating and scary at times it can be to have this condition. And sometimes, unexpectedly, there can also be moments of beauty. And that really speaks to me, and I am very curious about the rest of these illustrations, so definitely planning on picking this one up soon. Yes. I remember adding this one like immediately after finishing WandaVision because I wanted more Vision, and that is The Vision Volume 1 by Tom King. So unfortunately, there's no Wanda in here. There's no Scarlet Witch. It is just the vision, and he decides that he wants a family. He wants to have a normal life. So he decides to make a family. So he made himself a wife and some teen twins. They look pretty similar to him and have all his powers. They are described as the family next door, and they have the power to kill us all. What could possibly go wrong? Hopefully it scratches a bit of that itch that WandaVision left me with, but we'll see. And last on this list is Anne of Green Gables, a graphic novel by Mariah Marsden. I have a confession. I'm pretty sure that I have never read Anne of Green Gables, like in any form, and I never really felt the need to until I saw this book cover. Like, there's something about this super cute art style that really drew me in, and it feels like it's going to be this lovely, heartwarming adventure, and I'm all for that. It probably has some cottagecore vibes, so that's all I hope that I can get from it. I should be able to get that out of it, and I'm excited to give it a try. Maybe after reading this, I'll decide to go back and read more Anne of Green Gables. Who knows? Okay, that is it for me this week. Maybe you found a few new recommendations you're also excited about. I hope to get to these soon. I know I'm saying that they're 5-star predictions, and I do expect to read them soon-ish, but I've got some other books that are on a more higher priority. But if I ever am nearing a reading slump or just feel like something cozy, I'll reach for something on this list. Okay. I hope you all have an amazing week. Do something nice for yourselves. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Ooh, the next one is 1,000 Colored Castles by Garth
Brooks.
It is Garth Brooks.
Wait, actually?
It's Garth or Gareth Brooks.
With an E?
Yes.
Gareth.
Okay, so Gareth is Gareth?
I think so. It's not Garth. It's a different person.
Okay, Gareth Brooks. Thanks. Oh, jeez.